G'day guys and welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking all about tournament fishing and in particular pre-fishing and prepping for fishing tournaments. I'm into the freshwater scene. I fish Teams Fishing Australia, Central Vic Lure Casters, the AYC, and a few little other bits and pieces along the way. I do enjoy my tournament fishing. It's been pretty scratchy for the last couple of years, so I actually took a bit of a break because it actually sort of got to me a bit, the amount that we're getting stuffed around by Rona and cancellations and that sort of thing. So I haven't done a whole lot, but this year back into it. So I just thought I'd share a little bit of what I do. So anyone out there who's thinking about getting into tournament angling, maybe this might just help you to just get a little bit more confidence to get out there and get amongst it. You don't have to be elite by any means, but you do have to be keen and you have to be prepared. So I'm just going to run through a couple of things that I do leading up to the tournament, and also we'll run through and show you how we get on during pre-fish. There is a pre-fish ban for this one coming up this weekend, which is the Teams Fishing Australia event at Windamere Dam, 5th and 6th March 2022. So I guess this will also give you a bit of an idea of how Windamere fishes during that time of year. We'll have this episode on the prep and the pre-fish, and then we'll actually film the tournament as well. Good, bad or ugly, you're going to see how we go. I'm reasonably confident that we'll get onto some fish, and it will just be a matter of getting onto the better fish, I hope. It should fish pretty well. It should be open to pretty much anyone because they could be on the banks, on the trees, or both. So righto, we'll just get into it. Where I first start when it comes to prepping for a tournament, and it is something I'm probably getting a little bit more technical with these days, is sitting down in front of a computer and rolling through the maps of the dam. So satellite maps, also on the social fishing platform, I will roll through the maps that have been put together for Windamere and pick out different spots that I think will fish well for the time of year that we're going to be fishing it, giving the water conditions, so temperatures and weather temps and weather patterns and things like that. So I'll take that information. I also, I'll start off a bit of a folder. TFA Windy March 2022, doesn't get much simpler than that. And I start off in that folder with some satellite mapping of the dam. That one comes from Chartered Waters. And from there I take that and I will pick out points. I'll pick out standing trees, any little features that I think will be worth fishing when it comes to pre-fish day on Friday will all be marked out on those maps, so that when I hit the water I can just work from one spot to the next, make the most of my time. So by the time we get to Friday afternoon, we've got a really good idea of how the place is fishing, where we're going to fish, so that come the start of the tournament on the Saturday morning, we are out and we hit the ground running and get stuck straight into some fish. Fingers crossed. I've had so many pre-fishers in the past that have gone completely the opposite when it comes to actually wetting a line on tournament day. So it's possible, and many people out there might say, Dan, you're getting a bit too technical, mate, you're overthinking it. And that may well be the case. All the stuff that I do here in the office and in the boat shed, which is where we'll move next into lure prep, line, leader, all that sort of stuff's got to be done before I actually get up there. Regardless of late nights or anything like that it might take to do it that way. I think preparation is really important. And so, yeah, I might be overthinking it because, like I said, I've thrown so many pre-fish days out the window when it comes to comp day because things just don't line up the same way that it's not funny. But I still think this is going to give me just that little bit more of an advantage to use my time well when we do get out there on the water. So anyone who's been thinking about getting into tournament fishing, I hope this sort of helps you a little bit to have that confidence to get out there and have a crack. You don't have to be anyone special by any means. You do have to be really keen, and I believe you do have to be prepped. So we'll move into the boat shed now and get into a couple little bits and pieces there. I won't get too technical with it. If you do have comments or questions about anything you do see, just hit me up in the comments below and I'll be happy to answer any questions. So yeah, that's about it from here. We'll head into the boat shed and then we'll... Righto, so now that we're in the shed, the things that I'm doing here before I get up to the dam is things like any old jig heads with the old stingers attached to them. Go through, check any of those, make sure hook points are sharp, the braid that's joining them is not too frayed. Tying assist hooks and things onto lures. I've got some pre-made ones here. I've also got some braid and some little hooks there that I can make up my own. So yeah, just cutting trebles off, cutting the front of that treble off there so it's not getting snagged up. Windy can be weedy. I understand the weed at the moment is fairly submerged because the water's risen a fair bit for the first time in a long time, so going to be an interesting round. But that's the sort of things that we're doing, and this is sort of where the old brain gets ticking over and I think, I wonder what I can come up with here that'll just make that little 2% difference to get me that extra bite. So that sort of stuff happens here over a few stubbies, and sometimes I come up with some good stuff and sometimes it's absolute shit. So anyway, that's the sort of things that we're looking for. And yeah, just tying stingers, painting jig heads, putting assist hooks onto, you know, vibes, and making sure hooks are sharp and all that sort of bits and pieces. All the stuff that you don't want to have to be thinking about when you're out there on the water. Because if you've got to think about it out there and it's another step you got to do, sometimes you won't even be bothered to do it, and it could make all the difference. Righto, so I've just pulled up after a few hours in the car. One of the things I like to do when I get to a dam is come down, put my feet in, taste the water, and just see what it's like. Now what does that tell me? Absolutely nothing, you jokers. Let's grab a beer, eh? Oh, that's not bad. I've been out pre-fishing this morning for a couple of hours now, mainly just sounding around, looking for fish, and just the last hour or so we've just had a bit of a crack. We found a fair few fish that are pretty well inactive, but yeah, got that one there just tapping to grub up a tree. A fair few of them hanging on the trees. There are a few in the weed edges as well, but we couldn't get those ones to choose. So anyway, that's the start of our pre-fish. We'll see how we get on. It's not exactly what we're after in the pre-fish, but they are pretty.
Concentrate on something else.
Yeah.
I just get too focused sometimes, and I just got to relax.
Yeah, I've been seeing that all day. It's a good technique. I like it. Don't focus. Just completely. How you going? What's going on? Banged into a few fish, mate. Yeah. Yep. So it's been good. Yeah, it's good to see. I hear Naif's out crook, mate, is he?
Yeah, he's got a house full of COVID.
Oh, fair dinkum.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
This and the kids have got COVID, and
Yeah, right.
he messaged me on, it must have been Wednesday or something like that.
Yep.
And yeah.
I've had a couple of followers, mate, but they just really won't commit to it. Yeah.
Good to see the water. This much water in it, though.
Yeah, she's good, like nice and clear too for the amount that's come in.
Was the fucking start of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, no, there's a lot of those bigger fish we've sort of found hanging sort of mid-water, only sort of hanging sort of 3 or 4 metres down, but...
It's good for fishing the
Yeah.
It's just fucking not so many on it.
No. Righto, so pre-fish is actually done. I'm sorry there wasn't a lot of updates today because it was that bloody windy out there. It would have been pretty pointless anyway. So, yeah, got onto a fair few fish today. A lot of fish in the sticks. There was a few up on the edges. Not a lot of those were keen to chew. We did pick up a couple, but most of the fish we've seen that were active were in the timber. So one spot we found was just absolutely chockers full of them, so that was really good. That'll be our go-to spot tomorrow. Now it's just time to go back through the folder, tick off any spots that we're going to go to, cross out any that we aren't. I'll be running 4 outfits tomorrow and I'll be retying all my leaders on them. Going to run 10 pound because I think even though the water is fairly clear, I think we're going to be fishing in fairly heavy timber, so I'm going to stick with the 10 tomorrow. I'm going to run 2 soft plastic setups. I'll run a 1/4 ounce and then probably a 1/12. Just for the lighter ones, probably just flicking around the weed edges and stuff. And then I'll probably run, I don't know, we did see a fair few fish sitting up pretty high, so we might have a jerkbait out there. And we might have a T60 or something like that as well. So that's pretty much the rundown from today. It was a pretty good pre-fish. I'll probably look a bit tired, and I am a little bit tired. It was sort of a big day getting out of yesterday and a big day in the sun today. So, but no, it should be good. But yeah, that's pretty much how I roll for me pre-fishing these days. There's really not much else to it. I don't generally do a lot of fishing, as you've probably seen out there today. I do spend a hell of a lot of time just at idle, just cruising banks, just looking around for fish. I run the Garmin 8416 in the dash, which, you know, I can shoot, I sort of shoot 30 metres either side of the boat and can pick the fish up in the trees with that and up on the edges, and also, down scan and sonar, running a split screen all the way through. So, we cover water, we know the fish are there, we've got a fair idea of how we're going to get them to eat. So, we probably spent maybe 2 hours fishing, I suppose. Anywhere we found a good patch that were fairly active, we actually left that spot straight away. So, just basically so we don't sting them. And all you got to do then is hope that someone else doesn't find the same patch and flog the guts out of them. So if they do that, you show up at them tomorrow morning and just go, what the hell's going on with these fish? So anyway, that's all part of the game. So it's a good game, I enjoy it. So anyway, thanks for watching, and keep an eye out in the next few weeks. I'll drop a video of the actual comp itself. Fingers crossed we go alright. Pretty confident at this stage. I think we should do okay. So anyway, thanks guys, we'll see you then. Right. Yes.